All right, today I'm going to show you how to now assemble your circuit board once you've got your programmed M27C801 and your programmed Super CIC chip on your PIC microcontroller. You'll need a couple of things. You'll need these two chips, a circuit board, two ceramic capacitors, 0.1 UF, and then one electrolytic capacitor that is between 10 and 22 UF. You're going to put them in these holes. Now these are labeled where they should go. So you've got your ceramic at C2 and C3 and your electrolytic here. However, these little square pads are for surface mount parts, and so I only put them in that orientation for surface mount parts. When you're putting them through hole, the electrolytic does not fit here very well on the left side, so we're going to swap these. You can see there's a little plus and a minus, so make sure you get your capacitor oriented correctly with the long leg through the plus side here. Okay, so stick them through in this orientation. Make sure that the legs do not touch both of these square pads. So don't they need to go in the middle. Do not put them like off to one side where the legs are bridging those two pads, or you'll short the 5-volt and ground on your circuit board, which could damage your Super Nintendo. So make sure you have it set up like that. We're going to take our Super CIC. You need to make sure, see how there's a little circle there? Make sure that's in the top left, and we're going to put it in this spot here. And then we're going to take our M27C801 and put it here. Now you can see there's two rows where it can go. You need to know if your game is a high ROM mapper or low ROM mapper. High ROM is the top row and low ROM is the bottom row. So I tried to make it high and low. So this is a low ROM game, so we're going to put it in the bottom slot here. Sometimes these are a little tricky to get through all of the holes. There we go. Okay, so now it's all lined up. We're going to flip it over and watch everything fall out and then solder it. Okay, so take your soldering iron. I like to use a big old fat tip like this. You can use whatever you're comfortable with. All right, make sure it's nice and hot. And let's solder it, making sure not to bridge any pads. Don't linger too long on any individual pin. Get things too hot, you can cause damage or get it to stick funny or something. Also make sure you're watching out for bridged pins. You don't want solder to connect any of these or it will not work. All right, once you get those, you can go back and do your capacitors. Sometimes you can bend these to get them to stick in their position a little better. All right, make sure you always clean your soldering tip. Then with some flush cutters, you need to clip these off. Otherwise they'll stick out too far. Alright, pick up the CIC chip I dropped. Put that back in. Helps if you bend the legs straight. All right. Okay, we'll solder that in place. All right, at this point it's good to do a visual inspection, making sure everything looks okay. want to make sure there's nothing connecting anything. You might get these little bits of solder. It's usually good to get those off. I like to take a toothbrush and give it a good scrub in case there's sometimes you get tiny little solder threads that connect pins and mess things up, and that'll help get rid of it. All right, so this looks like it's ready to test. When you test this, you make sure the back of this PCB is facing towards you in the Super Nintendo. So we're gonna move it over here. Here's my Super Nintendo. Now I put a little, this is like a region bypass thing. I like to put this in here so I don't have to reach down in the slot. And you just pop this in here like this. Make sure it's facing this direction. So you can see the TV. All right, we'll turn it on. And the game turns on. All right, that's it. It's that easy. Now, I'll make another video so you can see some of the other features. This circuit board does have a spot for soldering LEDs and stuff if you want it to glow in like a clear case or something like that. But other than that, it's done. It only takes a couple minutes.